All right. Wanted to get us kicked off with what I know to be part of the solution for putting the future back in your hands and getting things dialed in. So we have a special guest. Before we get into that, not sure if any of you did, but if you did, if you don't mind just posting your production where you're at so far for this week. That way we can get right into it. My name is Brian Delaney. I was hired 11 plus years ago, going on 12 years, by Edward Pritchett. Grateful to be with you today. And we are going to be talking about ASRs today. ASRs. Why are we going to be talking about ASRs? Because I think that as people continue to adapt, we need to find the best solution in order to continue to run our business in a way that we control, in a way that where the principles are steady, the resources are abundant, and while we have flexibility, we don't have to use flexibility every time the economy turns, and we're able to meet more people where they are, which people are where their people are, right? That's in general what's true. Like if you find, we always hear the saying, sharp people know sharp people know good people. We've heard that time and time again. Go ahead while you're hopping on here, throw your production so we can celebrate you and encourage other people. But if we want to keep finding great people, we got to start. It all starts with our great clients. And this referral system is just simply a way for us to encourage, equip, and empower you to get to the next level in your business. And instead of waiting for your leads to come in, to be creating your leads all week, because that's what matters. That's what leaders do. They're creative, they're generative. They're not just sitting there and responding or waiting for that response to see how their business is going to go for the week. So far, Jesse Bacharach, 22 apps for 2,800. Samantha Nelson, 1 app for 2,400, 3 after sale referrals. Great job, Samantha. Brandon Packed directed Jody Matney, 1 app for 1,487. So exactly how do ASRs change your business? Right. A lot of you may know this, but I also feel like we're in a position where we're trying to figure out a lot of new things. Here's one thing we don't have to figure out is that our clients are gonna tell us who else needs help, and that's going to be a lot higher of a percentage of people than return leads, apply online, work through Razor Ridge, work through any other lead resource. So exactly how do we do it? Because if there's one thing that you can be known for in business, it's profitability. It's profitability. The first rule of business is to stay in business. And I know that each one of you came here to own your own future, not to be owned by a future that you can't control, right? In order to control what you get, you have to be creative. You've got to be creative. That's where all this starts. This is whether you want to call it proactive, whether you want to call it generative. What we know is that responsive people don't win in business. They work for businesses. That's what we know. We know that responsive people don't take leadership roles. They are led, right? So when you're a leader, when you're in business for yourself, when you're a 1099 in an environment like this, you cannot wait. You must create, right? You don't wait, you create. Success does not come to you. It comes through you. And this was one of the most difficult principles for me to get, and the principle that actually flipped my business, right? So our conditioning tells us, and there's a book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, that helps us to actually become aware of these. But my conditioning always said, if I'm just patient enough, it'll happen. Right? If I'm just patient enough, it'll happen. That's a good principle. That's a good principle. It's not a good one as far as its application for business, right? If I just create, it'll happen, right? If good things come to those who wait, right? That's another thing that we hear. Now, good things come to those who create, right? Those who create. We know that because if we're waiting on a week to week result in order to run our business, if we're waiting to see how many leads we get assigned on a weekly basis, or if there were enough new mortgages to get those leads, or if there were enough people who we got to contact who were turning 65 who didn't happen to be eating in at a luncheon during that time, who also filled out a form, right? And what if switchboard doesn't work? Here's what we know works: getting in front of people, getting in front of our clients. That's what we know works, right? So we have to first, it starts off by us creating the environment. We've got to create the environment where people trust us to give them the names of people they know could use somebody like us. And what does somebody like us mean? It means something really, really simple. And we're going to get into that with Jesse Backer when it comes to that. We create the trust, right? We create the trust. How do we create the trust? Just by being real, not by being a polished insurance professional, but being a real person who knows enough of their stuff to be able to help people get great coverage at a reasonable rate. We create the client. How do we create the client? Well, one of the first things I learned in business is until you start naming your clients and identifying your clients, you're just hoping your clients identify you. And in the beginning of the business, that can be really tricky. You create the income. Here's the biggest part. How can I get the revenue that comes out of my business untaxed by the cost of my business? How can I create larger revenues, right? Larger revenues, very simply, with less expense to create those revenues. Now, nobody is in business to save money. Everybody's in business to make money. So why don't you learn how to make more money with less cost? One of the simple ways that I learned how to do that was, in order to bury my lead cost, what I would do is, if I had somebody who was a critical period on critical period concept, I'd write an accidental death. And that would completely eliminate my lead cost, right? Because the commissions from the accidental death policies that were ancillary policies, right, were always used to pay off my leads for the week. And then everything else was profit. Everything else was profit. Now, let's say I meet my business cost need, right, for the week, which is what, for somebody who's trying to make 100,000 a year, it's about, let's call it plus Zoom plus everything else. Let's call it $700 a week, right? $700 a week, including leads, including other costs. As soon as I meet that cost, let's say I make an extra 700 off of that, right? Right. If I make an extra 700 in addition to without any business costs, now it's what I keep that matters. It's what I keep that matters, and that's the same thing for you. So we want to increase the amount of money that you keep every single week. So you create a client, you create the income, yeah, because you're in control of it, and you create the future, right? You create the future. You create the future because good economy, bad economy, recession, housing's up, market's down. It doesn't matter, because you happen to be in a recession-proof business with a recession-proof mindset, with a heart that just won't give up, because you are here to get the freedom that you need. And what we don't want to accept is, we don't want to accept partial freedom. What we want to do is, we want to get total autonomy. So while certain lead costs are going up, other ones are going down, there's new lead types, all of that, you want to eliminate how those things impact your business. Is everybody with me? Right? Any changes in the business, you want to eliminate the impact, because people will say something new just happened in the business. What does something new just happen in the business typically mean for revenue? That revenue is going to go down. Oh, we're making adjustments. Revenue is going to go down. Oh, we're figuring out new systems. That typically an excuse for revenues are going down. So what we want to do is, we want to eliminate that by putting the future into your hands, by putting your ability to control that in your hands, so that the least amount of variables outside of your hands impact this. Because when it's up to you, it can be done, and you can be 100% responsible and take 100% ownership for everything that happens, which is the only posture for a business leader to be in, that truly desires to grow their business and wants to actually see that happen. So the last thing that, and I heard this question the other night, I was sitting out on my porch and Gary Vaynerchuk asked this question. He said, I just want to find out the answer to this one question. How good can I be? Like, isn't that such a great question? Like, how good can you be? How, what, in whatever role, but in here, we're talking about the business context. How good can you be? And how great can that make life for the people around you? So let's find out. Let's find out how good can you be, because today I've invited a gentleman on with us that's going to talk to us and help us to provide some answers so we can get to the answer of that bigger question of how good can I be and how great can I make life around me for other people, and how can I do that simply by adding another statement or two to the work that I'm already doing and end up the week with more energy, more passion, more enthusiasm, more freaking money. Because at the end of the day, if you have enthusiasm, you have passion, you have energy, and you don't have any more money, that's a temporary condition waiting for that's going to equate to a permanent change. So let's just get into it. Let's get into it, because there was nothing that I love more than getting done serving families every single week, already having my next week partially set up, ready to go, because I'm not in business for a week. I'm not here working for a living. I'm doing a life's work. So before we do this, some of you may have already seen this video, but we wanted to kick this off with a video and then get into it with Jesse, talk about some technique that he's using, and also for him to cast a vision for what this December can look like for you, so that you can sprint through the finish line and right into 2023 and answer that question even more thoroughly. So Mike, if you don't mind just putting up that video, that'd be awesome.
I'm really glad that we got you not only applied, approved, policy in your email right now covered. Now, who is the most important person to you that would benefit from a meeting like we just had?
Steven Fernandez.
Steven.
Yeah.
He's married?
No, not married, no kids.
Oh, okay. So maybe just a disability thing is what he's looking for.
He does. Actually, he would need a disability thing, honestly, because his job is killing him.
I'm gonna show him how to protect himself and get all of his money back, like a savings account like you just got. Give me his number. I'm not gonna reach out right away. I'm not a telemarketer. I don't want to be treated like one. You're gonna call him or text him and say, hey, we had a meeting with this cool guy, Jesse. If you want to talk about insurance, he will call you. If you don't worry, just tell him no thank you. My only question is, who do you know that absolutely needs to have this conversation, but is stubborn and want to protect each other? Who do you think could benefit from a meeting? Who would you like me to call? Who's the most important person to you? Now that you took those steps, who is the first person that you could think of that would benefit from an insurance meeting like we just had?
¿Quién quiere referrar a mí? So yo puedo llamar a la otra familia y, Hendrix y Pétalo, recomiendo a llamarse y ofrecemos, que tú deseas. So who do you care about most?
Who do you think would benefit from a meeting? It could be your parents. It could be your coworkers, your colleagues that didn't get a mortgage protection card to their house. Who do you think would benefit from a meeting like we just had? Who comes to mind first that has kids or is living together?
Her mother.
My mom's in the process of trying to.
I think my cousin will definitely.
I say my brother.
What's his name?
I don't know if he got life insurance.
No, even if he does, he'll be happy you referred him.
Brother, he's actually in the market for looking for a new place himself. So
Awesome.
he's probably going to be the one that I would recommend. His name's Timothy.
Close friend, because my family is very organized and in this kind of matter, so I guess.
Beautiful.
I never had this kind of conversation with nobody else. I'm thinking my family is very organized.
What's your friend's name?
Number. So when you see him calling you, answer. It's important, Alice. I know we talked about this before. It's important. You know I know because of Jamie, so it's important. All right. Okay.
Who's the most important person to you?
You got my friend PJ.
PJ single or married?
What was that? I can't hear that enough. I can never get it. I never get used to hearing. I'm only kidding. But
no feedback from the peanut gallery. So, Moose.
She said your dog. Your dog won her over.
I'll take it.
I'm so grateful that you walked us through all of it. Because when you're first thinking of insurance, you're thinking I have to get enough to cover the amount that I owe the bank.
Sean, for allowing me to protect your family. I'll let you know I'm always going to be here for you. And if you need anything, you got my number. I'm the guy for you.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse.
God bless, man. Have a great night.
Awesome. I love that video because it shows it right in motion. It shows it happening, Jesse. And that's what I love. Before we just to put some credibility, just to put some respect on his name, let's talk about it. 90,000 placed production in the first 2 months of this year. 90,000 placed production. Over 50% of that business came from ASRs. That's powerful. And I know he's got a lot bigger, a bigger vision than even that, even how he started off the year to cap off the year. He's gotten his time back. He's gotten his money right. He's put himself in a place where he could be a leader inside of this agency by doing the right things for long enough. 246,215 also for the year so far. Awesome net placed rating. His customers love him. He stays on the books. He remains energized to get into this business. And I just want to start it off because we are talking, Jesse, at the end of the year. Number one, by welcoming you and thanking you for being on here with us today and just your continued efforts in order to help other people become financially free by helping to make their strategy just a little bit more free, right? By helping more of that community of clients that people do just simply by asking one question, just by simply asking, not asking well, not asking right, just asking it all is what makes it happen. And then following up with those folks to set your appointments. But we just came off Thanksgiving. It's easy to get a slow start to this week. Can you talk a little bit about, how you set up your week so far for this week that we're in right now?
Absolutely, Brian. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you all for joining the call. And I just want to express my gratitude to Mike and Brian Delaney, the whole organization behind that helped put that video together, because otherwise it was just a lot of raw footage that I had no idea what I was doing or what it was going to be good for. But they really created that magic and made it presentable and digestible. So thank you, and expressing my just utmost gratitude for this opportunity to be part of this organization and to be able to work alongside all of you all, because this is a team. This is a team sport. This is a team effort. And I just want to express my gratitude for the season that we're in, for the opportunity we have, the ability to do this remotely, and having amazing leaders like Brian Delaney and down the line, all the way down this company. So if you're on this call, you're already blessed. So thanks so much. And to jump right in and answer your question, you mentioned in the beginning autonomy, having more autonomy over our business. I think it all starts from the beginning of the week. It could be real easy to eat those leftover Thanksgiving meal and for the rest of the weekend be stuffed with turkey and have that, the same feelings like we're still in Thanksgiving. But we're not. It's a day, not a week. And I think the most important aspect of setting up your week prior is Monday really begins on Sunday for me personally. So for me, I know that I was able to set up my week not only started off with some applications so far, but I was able to set up the posture for my week and already know that I'm going to have a successful one, because yesterday I jumped on the phone for about 45 minutes and I booked 8 appointments for between last night and today. So just by having that posture, the week starts the day before.
I love that. And 40, like this isn't unusual, but we can get settled into our routine, right? We have this pattern, we patterns of thought, patterns of behavior, right? Patterns of speech. We get put in our brains are pattern recognizing machines. And so sometimes we just adapt to what we've been doing. And I remember being in a place where I was at one point, I would set 3 to 4 appointments over a 3 hour period. You're talking about setting 8 appointments in 45 minutes. That's awesome. But that's also, we should expect more as we become more, right? If that's true, we should, and that's where I went, okay, well, let me see how many I can do and make it into make the most boring parts of this business a competition against yourself and against what you've done before. And what you'll be able to do is measure improvement, right? If you haven't learned how to compete against yourself, don't bother competing against other people, right? So we compete against ourselves. And then all of a sudden, Jesse, I saw where in a 3 hour period of time, I was able to set 6 to 8 appointments. And then that went up to 10 appointments. Saturday from 9 to 12, I was on the phone and I would set up most of my appointments for the week after, right? Just by getting warmed up on the phone, having more posture. A lot of folks are on that path. But talk about the difference in the conversations you had, because I know there was some of those that were leads, and I know at least one of those appointments that you set up was an ASR. How do those conversations differ when it comes to the responses that you get in order to set up your week more effectively and efficiently?
Yeah, and to answer that question properly, I had to become more to get more appointments. So the first part of that is constant growth, because we understand and recognize here that progress is perfection. And we not only acknowledge that, but we embrace that. So I don't want anybody to compare themselves to anyone else on this call. What is more important is to compare yourself to yourself where you were yesterday, so that you can say, okay, well, if I track my numbers and what I do is important, I'm going to track it. So, and I'm really bad at tracking things, by the way, just to put it out there, like I'm the worst at it. I'm just, hey, tell me what to do, I'll go do it. But I have become better at tracking, because if it is important, we have to do that. So always make sure we're comparing ourselves to who we were yesterday, not to somebody else. Super important point to mention. So what did those phone calls look like? Well, I call them, whether it be a Razor Ridge, a mortgage protection, or even a referral. I'm calling them with enthusiasm and energy. Now, if we're listening to Jeremy Miner, which I hope everybody is, we're not jumping on the phone and acting like a salesperson or creating any type of sales resistance. But if you want to create that atmosphere of love, trust, and respect, the best way to do that is just going to be your authentic self. And what I'm finding is that when you pick up the phone, when somebody answers and they say, hi, how are you? And I say, oh, I'm great. I just got back from a walk with my dog. You know, I saw a homeless person, fed them, and the woman on the bench saw me and said, wow, you just restored my faith in humanity today, because I was having a bad week. You didn't even ask that man if he wanted something. You know, you just gave him food and walked away, and thank you. And I shared that story with the woman on the phone one morning, and she goes, wow, I think God put us on this phone call and attracted us together. So what you think might sound unprofessional to someone is actually being authentic and genuine. And that is what makes it so easy for me to connect with a stranger on the phone and then be able to book an appointment, because I'm being authentic. If I could take a second to make everyone on this call laugh, I actually at 8:14 in the morning got a Razor Ridge come in last week. I called her at 8:15. The woman said, hey, how are you? I said, I'm great. I said, I see your favorite hobby is singing. What were you singing this morning? She said, Whitney Houston. I said, how will I know if he really loves me? I just started singing with her. And guess what she did, Brian?
What'd she do? She sing right back?
Singing back.
Hell yeah.
And at 8:15 in the morning, we are two strangers on the phone that don't know each other, singing Whitney Houston. And in 15 minutes, I signed her up for a smart UL with Foresters for $279 a month.
Yep. So is the secret to ASRs Whitney Houston, or is it just singing? Because I look at a guy like Mike Block, and I wonder if like he's seeing now a potential resistance to his business plan for like. But there's music for everybody, right? So is it we get to this place where we get to start to we get to start to improvise, right? We get to start to improvise after we've learned how to imitate for long enough. And you know how to go right back to the basics principles and the psychology that are held in the script, right? But because you have that foundation and you know your scripts, just like any good actor knows their character, and you, the good news for you is you're kind of like Kevin Costner. You play yourself in every movie, right? You're that authentic self who you're relying on your know-how, you have your system, and that allows you to focus on the relationship and be real. I think that's such a big part of this. So if you're feeling nervous, you're probably feeling nervous about how someone else perceives you. When you stop feeling nervous is when you're going to stop thinking about how other people perceive you. And for me, when that changed, I started thinking about how I can serve them, right? How I can serve them. And I hear that in your mindset. How can I meet this person where they're at so we can bring them to where they want to be? So yeah, you got into that Razor Ridge lead. You dialed that right away. That's kind of the traditional lead system. Talk to me about the difference on a referral type lead.
Yeah, so one of the appointments that I booked yesterday happened to be an ASR from over a month ago. And just a quick note, that's one of the beauties of ASRs. They don't know when you were supposed to call them, let's say. There is no expiration date. So you call them every single ASR that you do call, you can literally create the atmosphere as though it's just as exciting whether you sat with that family 3 months ago or yesterday. So especially if they're expecting your call or not, it actually doesn't matter. So you go into it with the mindset that you're creating the atmosphere of urgency, importance, and love and trust, especially with respect. So like when I call, and I'll give you an example because it was really kind of a funny one actually yesterday. In fact, my mother heard me booking appointments. We're so blessed to be able to do what we do from anywhere. I'm down in Florida right now visiting my parents for Thanksgiving and my dad's birthday. But the idea is that we're able to do this from anywhere and effectively. So my mom is listening to me book appointments with Razor Ridge, a couple of mortgage protection leads I had left over. And then all of a sudden, my last call of the evening was a referral. And so when I called, she answered, "Is this Jesse? Is this Jesse, the life insurance guy?" She's like, "I'm upset with you. Why haven't you called me yet?" And I said, well, I waited till after the holiday and this and that. And I said, I was able to meet Kiana, Shireen and Phil. I met Kayla, Ariel. I met Stevie and Ryan. I met your parents. I took care of the whole family. And now it's your turn. And she just started busting out laughing. She's like, "I thought you didn't love me. I thought you forgot about me." I said, "No, we're all family now. So there's no way I could forget you." And just the tone of the conversation was so different. That was one of, let's say, a small percentage of people that will be expecting your call. Most of the time, they're not. And we could face that reality and accept that and know what to say. And we could have the tools on what to say for that. But when somebody's expecting your call and you call them even after the holidays a month later, my mom was hysterical laughing because it was on speaker. And she was so excited to book an appointment, told me and my husband already have life insurance, but we're so excited to meet with you. So when can we do it?
Mm-hmm. I love that. So many of us don't want to be. We looked at it. We have a perception of salespeople. We have a perception of insurance agents. We don't want to be treated like one, but then we act like one. And what I see you is you're not doing that. You're not being salesy on the phone. You're not being scared on the phone. You're not being overly pushy on the phone. You're connecting with people to see how you can help them with the expectation that you'll be able to do it. Right. And such a big deal. And again, how can we put the future back in your hands? Right now, how much does speed of lead matter to you? Right? How much does that matter to you? Does it matter is that determining and driving your business? How much do you want that to determine and drive your business in 90 days from now? That's what I love about this. That's what I love about this. You don't want speed to lead to determine and drive when you do things, how you do things. You want to be able to allow your own discipline, vision, and values to drive that. ASR. That's what we have to get through our head. And listen, it doesn't matter. It's just becoming more simple. That's a crazy thing. With like, I know you and I talked about this, and I want to give people an opportunity to ask questions. It's 12:32 right now. Talk to me about how you see Razor Ridge leads leading to more ASRs, because that's exactly what I found. But you've been doing it a lot more than me, and I'd love to hear your take on that.
And I found this to be fascinating, how the priming of somebody's mind that is looking specifically for life insurance, as opposed to the pomp and circumstance of booking a mortgage protection lead. And I don't want to step out of bounds here, Brian, but what I'm finding is that everything we knew about MP, and yes, we want to be good imitators before we're innovators, but everything that we know, I kind of like threw the kitchen sink out the window and was willing to try something new. So what I'm finding is when somebody's primed mentally already and is looking for life insurance, at the end of the sale, not only are they much more likely to get it, in my opinion, but they are much more likely to refer you to people that also need and want life insurance. Mm-hmm. So just in that aspect alone, I see the opportunity to acquire more ASRs off Razor Ridge is just phenomenal, because we can sit in an MP appointment and explain to them, this is not tied to the mortgage. This is life insurance. This is for your family. Your bank could sell the mortgage tomorrow. This is life insurance for you. And then at the end, when you ask for referrals, how many people they get? Oh, well, I don't know anyone else that has a mortgage. It's like, okay, we're living in the 18th century still. So we want to be in the future. And the future for me is Razor Ridge. I plan on continuing to work those Razor Ridge leads because I have big goals for December. And I know that I'm not going to be able to achieve those goals personally and professionally without ASRs. I could get 1 million leads, but I won't be able to hit my personal goal without doing it with ASRs, because they make you more efficient. They give you more freedom. They allow you the ability to connect with people on a deeper level. And imagine if you're rolling purpose and half the appointment was already done by the time they answered the phone, because they know why you're calling them for insurance. So kind of like taking all that pomp and circumstance away and just getting to the real human aspect of, hey, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. And we're going to do that by building an atmosphere of love, trust, and respect. In fact, before I begin or before I even give a quote, as I'm pulling up the quoting software on Zoom or over the phone, I say, hey, by the way, I make the assumption, after we take care of you and your family today, just keep in mind that at the end, you could give me anyone you care about that would benefit from this. Now I'm actually priming them from the beginning and letting them know. So at the end, it's not a shock when they pull out their phone book.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. It's just we ask for the things, we let people know the things that we're going to need and what we're going to do, and then we get those things and do those things. And that was probably one of the most revolutionary things that happened to my sales. I heard Ashley Harris say this. She said, I promised them, I told them up front that we were going to write an app, so I have to. So I have to, right? I said that once we find something that you qualify for that fits it within your budget, I'm going to help you apply. So I've got to do that. It's not a question of whether I will or I won't. I will do that because I told them, and my word is important to me. Just that freaking simple. But we've got to keep trust with ourselves first. And some of you may be thinking, well, I'm not getting the same thing from the people. I'm like, I've been trying to do some of these ASRs and I'm not getting the same thing. This isn't a place to walk into it while checking interest. This is a place to confirm their name and that they're related to so-and-so. And we assume we get insurance. We assume that positive result from there, but we've got to call with that positive assumptive mindset that's going to set up a positive assumptive appointment, right? And so when we're just waiting for that person who talks to you, Jesse, which is probably like 1 in 5, right? Who's going to come back and say, oh, Jesse, I've been waiting, right? 1 in 10 even. Oh, Jesse, I've been waiting for you to call. The other ones are like, oh, no, they never told me that you were going to call. What do you say to that?
Everybody has their one of these? All right. So when I call someone, I want actually you all on this call to make the assumption that life happened. They had to put their kids to bed. They had to get ready for work the next day, so on and so forth. Life continues. And they didn't keep their promise, even if they swore on a stack of Bibles that they were going to tell their brother that you were going to call. So when you do call, how do we differentiate ourselves from any other life insurance broker, financial advisor, or anyone that is a solicitor, let's just say, that triggers sales resistance? And how do we do that? So it kind of goes like, hey, ring, ring. Hello, Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, hi, Brian. This is Jesse Backrack. I'm giving you a call on behalf of Tim and Paige. Did they tell you I was going to give you a call?
No, they never mentioned anything.
No? All right, they're in big trouble. So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. After we get off the phone or whenever it's appropriate, I'm going to just please ask you to do me a favor and let Tim and Paige know that Jesse Backrack called you so they know that I kept my promise to them, because I don't want them to think that I didn't keep my word.
Will do. Will do.
Thank you. So the reason that I'm calling is actually because I was able to sit with Tim and Paige about 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday evening. They requested some options for insurance, and we were able to go over life insurance, how to protect their mortgage, even with disability options, so they don't have to worry about missing a paycheck and falling behind. I even showed them how to get all their money back at the end, like a savings account, tax-free, so that all that money doesn't have to go to waste when they're still alive at the end. I think they really appreciated the clarity to which I explained and described everything. And once we got them all taken care of and situated, and they were so pleased that they finally were protected, I asked them, who is the most important person to you that you think would benefit from a meeting? And they only gave me 3 people, but you were the first person that they gave me. So I just wanted to let you know that whether you're concerned about insurance, if you already have life insurance, even if you have it through your job, I am so delighted to go over what is available out there and just educate and explain what there is so you're aware and you could make the most informed decision for your family. I have about 2 appointments left this week for families and slots. I have a 5 p.m. and a 7 p.m. for tomorrow evening. What's going to work better for you and Tori, Brian?
We've got a busy week.
Yeah, the great news is this isn't going to take very long. I'm just happy to kind of educate and explain. When is appropriate that you are both going to be together, that we could jump on Zoom, you could see my ugly face, and I could kind of share my screen with you and go over some options?
You said you had Tuesday available?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday works as well. I just try and, meet people where they're at and fill up my schedule as it fills up.
Okay. So Tuesday would be good. Tuesday, kind of afternoon, evening would be great.
Fantastic. I'm going to get your email, send you a Zoom invitation. I'm also going to send you my credentials so you know who the heck I am and who you're working with. So once we hang up the phone, I'm going to send you my insurance license in New Jersey. I even send my personal driver's license just so you know who the heck I am. And you could even verify me if you needed to. But more importantly, you give Tim and Paige a call, and I think they'll give you a pretty good explanation of what we're going to talk about. So can I count on you to do that, Brian?
Yeah, 100%.
I can't wait to meet you and Tori on Tuesday at 7. You have a blessed evening. Look out for that Zoom invite from me. Accept it when you can. And I just can't wait to meet you guys and take care of you the same way that I did with Tim, Paige, and your cousins as well. So the whole family's been delightful. So I can't wait to meet you guys.
Awesome. Beautiful. So I want to unmute here. What were some of Jesse's motivations that you heard that you would have heard if you were on the other end of the phone? Go ahead and unmute.
Jesse was prioritizing, really just making it a point to show that these people were really important to his first clients, to really show that connection between really like the whole dynamic. Because when he showed that his original clients were important to him, And then the people that he got as referrals were important to those people. It just brought a full connection of showing how that connection is, of like how important one another is, and really you're there to help one another. And that was the most important thing, is how when he mentioned like you were the first person that so and so thought of, like whether they're the first person or not, right? Just like what Jesse was saying, it's like this was the first person that they thought of was you. So you're clearly very important to them. So that was something like that was really good.
That's awesome. Jesse, you bring a crowd here. We don't usually get to have Gabby on our calls, and she's one of the Gabby's been with us now for only a few months and is already on track for qualifying for the destination bonus and getting after.
And she slingshot herself pretty hard.
Pretty hard. As only a friend and tight coworker could say. That's awesome. Gabby, really appreciate your input, and you're exactly right. I love that. The importance, why this was important to them, why you were, as a client, why you were important to them, and how they demonstrated that, right? Mm-hmm. And what they found, and what I'm sure you'll find.
Yeah, right? And I also really liked how he brought the curiosity into the conversation. Like he kind of like just like dropped little nuggets, like here's a little bit of disability, here's the ROP, which they don't even like know these things yet, but he's just dropping little tidbits like, oh wait, what is that? And so just bringing like what you might be getting if you do meet, these are the little things you might like have the opportunity to take advantage of. So I liked how he dropped those little nuggets in.
Little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And we're also, Gabby, thank you for mentioning that, because we're also priming them to let them know that not only are we going to take care of them, but they're going to give me referrals too, the same way that they were referred. Because getting a referral from a referral is even easier than getting a referral from a lead. I just wanted to mention that.
So great. So great. So I want to open it up now so that we have a good amount of time. It's 12:43 for anybody who has questions on this, or on how Jesse is getting ASRs on a regular basis. And then we're going to talk about the plan. How can you instead of wait for your resources, create your resources, and in doing so, create an abundance within 90 days from now? How can 90 days look so substantially freaking different that it's going to be hard? If you have your agency named one thing today, it's going to be hard to keep that same name. We'll talk about that right after we go into questions. But who has any questions or any maybe barriers that we can turn into bridges to getting this done and getting to the next level in your business?
So I'll go. Sam Nelson, direct to Brick Bradford. When you said you're getting your ASRs, are you calling them instantly after your appointment when you're available, or are you waiting a couple of days? What does that look like?
Well, ASRs equal freedom, right? So that's going to be up to you and how you want to run your business. Personally, I think the enthusiasm is high right after, and you're going to get some resistance. Remember, people may resist in the beginning. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask in different ways. And once you get those numbers, don't be afraid to call them right away. Now, one thing that I do say is, hey, I'm not a telemarketer. I don't want to be treated like one either. So I'm going to rely on you to text and call these people. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the great Brian Delaney is going to share a text message that we use, and I've used before and he uses, to book these referrals, to not only prime them, but that even if they don't answer that text message, you can still call them and they will have seen it. So to answer your question succinctly, Samantha, you can call right away. You can call while you're still in the appointment. Mm-hmm. I've had families call their loved ones while we're on the Zoom and then give me the thumbs up that they're expecting my call. Talk about posture. Now, I'm not tooting my own horn. What I'm saying is that every person on this call has the ability to say, hey, your brother's really important to you, right? Let's call him right now. Let him know that we're going to be calling. Do you have to do that? No. But if you've built such a strong rapport with a family and you just sat with them for an hour and a half and they're in love with you, which they should be, right? And I'm sure they are. Why not? Roll the referral, bam, fam, book a meeting from a meeting, right? Let's bam, fam. Let's get used to creating that habit of rolling a referral, which literally means, hey, let's call them right now and let them know and book an appointment. So when you call, just make sure that whether it's a week later, a month later, or an hour later, that you're still calling with the enthusiasm that you just got off the call with that family. And it doesn't matter when you call them, because that's the point of ASRs. It's freedom. We don't have to worry about speed to lead. We just have to worry about creating an atmosphere of love, trust, and respect.
And I think you're hitting it right on the head, Sam. Great question, because this is part of the strategy, right? So let's say I'm in this week and I don't have enough results for this week. I can control that now, because now I have more resources than I do necessity. And so I can call them right away and say, hey, I know Jesse's going to call you soon, Sam, but I just got out of the appointment and I was fired up because of how Jesse told me that you love to do this, right? And finding that connection point. Or Jesse told me that you were his cousin and that you might need my help. I know he's going to call you later, but I either have Monday before 5 or after 5. What's going to be better for you? Right. So I can make this week better, or I can set up next week to be better. Whatever I want, whatever I see is best, I can do it now, or it could be part of my plan for next week. And having your next week set up and not having to start from zero every week is one of the most important steps you can get to in this business. Because if you have to work from the ground up every week, you're going to be ground down within a few weeks. Okay. It's not going to be the way that you're gonna thrive in this business. So awesome question. Sam, did that answer your question? Do you have any follow-ups?
It did answer my question.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. And for me personally, what do they say? Success can make you soft. I think that's what they say. So I don't necessarily like to call them. I like to just text them, because if I have to, I've gotten soft over the years. I'm not as hard of an individual as I used to be when I was calling every single week. So I'd send the text, and here's what I found. If I send 4 texts, I get one appointment set. If I send 4 texts, I get 1 appointment set. So to set 15 appointments, how many ASRs do you need in a week? I need 60, right? I need 60. I need to be able to have 60. The good news is that even if you provide for half of your production, 50% of your production, and you got 25 in a week, you set with 10 people and you only got 2.5 ASRs per appointment on average, you would still crush it. You could still add another 50% to your business, replace 50% of your leads, give yourself 50% more freedom, more profit, more connection, more passion, more energy, more success. Like what do you want? Because that's the way to get it. It's hard when we start anything to do it, because we think about it a lot more than we do it. So it feels like it takes energy. Wait till you don't have to think about it anymore. Wait till it just becomes this automatic thing that you do the same way every time. So, Brandy, I saw you unmuted. Did you have another question? Or did you have a question? Oh, no. Okay. Who's got the next question?
Also, to jump off that, the mentality of calling an ASR, you have nothing to lose. So you could go into it with a jovial attitude with, hey, I helped the whole family already. You're next. Like, you can go into it with that extra enthusiasm and confidence, which is only going to help the client even more. So you have
100%.
nothing. When we have pay for leads, sometimes we feel like, oh, that was a waste of money. This is a waste of nothing except for your oxygen, and that's where we're at.
That's it's so true. I remember how I used to, like, when I was working like B3s in the beginning, I'd be like, oh man, that person was $3. Like, I did, like, soon enough it was 8 leads and everything like that. It like got better and better over time. But your mindset can get messed up. And so it's like, for me, whenever I'm like, when I'm playing at a table, when I'm playing in Vegas, I always want to have as many chips as possible, because it allows me visually to start from a place of abundance. How about this? Am I going to pay for my leads with the money that I earn, or am I going to pay for my leads with 5 minutes? With 5 minutes of asking a question, right? How do I want to pay for my leads this week? Do I want to get uncomfortable and pay for my leads with my time and a little extra effort, little extra time, little extra effort, or do I want to take another $500-$600 out of my account in order to pay for this next week of leads, right? Either way, we're going to get to the result. The result is not negotiable. The result is what we have to get to. So it's how we're going to get there and how we're going to do that most sustainably, right? In the way that allows us the most amount of freedom. So who's next on questions?
This is not the time to be shy.
I'm just saying, Jesse, you want to tell them what you're going after in the first?
So to give everyone some perspective, sure, I have no problem sharing my personal goals with you because I'd love to be accountable to them, and I'm accountable to every single one of you on this call because the way that I'm going to achieve this goal is through ASRs. It doesn't matter how many leads I buy. I'll never be able to achieve this goal without ASRs. I acknowledge that from the beginning and I go into it like knowing that. So, regardless of any standards that I may have set for myself in the past, this December, starting today, I am going to write $100,000 on my own pen of life insurance. I'm not talking about annuities, FIFs, this, that. I'm going to write $100,000 of business on my own pen through leads and referrals. And personally, that will be through Razor Ridge leads. I've turned my GMR and my SLO off for mortgage protection. So I will be doing that 100% on Razor Ridge leads and the referrals that I get from them. So pray for me because I'll need them, but it will happen. It will happen. And at the end, we will be able to share what is actually possible. And the funny thing is, I don't want anyone on this call to say, well, I can't write 100,000. Why would I even try? I'm not going to do this. This is very scalable and this is very replicatable and very duplicatable. So while I want you to be in awe, sure, you could be in awe of my goal, I've detached myself from it. I already think as though I've achieved it already. And the reason that I'm able to do that is because I'm confident that I'm not afraid to ask for referrals. I'm not afraid to call them. I'm not afraid to look like a fool because it would actually, I would argue, it would be a bigger fool that is afraid to look like a fool. Like we're so afraid of, oh, egg on my face. Oh, I made a mistake. Like, no, we are real. If you just got someone's social security number, their bank account, all of their personal info, I promise you they'll give you their brother and their cousin's phone number. I promise you that they want that connection. I've learned that on Razor Ridge, what is the kind of person that is requesting life insurance from a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook ad? These people are on TikTok at 3 a.m. They are scrolling, yearning for a human connection. We're going to give that to them. We are going to give them the connection that they desire, and it doesn't have to be from a stupid TikTok video. You can create the connection, and you do that by creating love, trust, and respect in an atmosphere around them. And that's why I don't want you to be afraid to call these leads, which ASRs are a form of lead, right? I want you to think of them as opportunities and leads, except they cost you nothing. So I want you to go into it willing to say, oh, your favorite hobby's singing, and start singing with them. Oh, your favorite hobby's working on cars? Do you have a project car that you're working on right now, or are you a mechanic for a living? If their favorite hobby is exercising, oh, do you like lifting weights or do you run on a treadmill? Ask them something about their personal life and build a connection. And if everybody wants to laugh, I mean, one way that I build a connection is that it's not a gimmick. I send a picture of my dog in a funny costume, in a suit. I send them, even though they are strangers, before I book a Razor Ridge lead, I send them a picture. Hey, sorry, I'll get right back to you. I'm walking my dog. And then I send them a picture of my dog in a tuxedo, and they cannot stop laughing. Thank you, Moose. If I see that their favorite hobby is movies, I say, oh, have you seen Stutz on Netflix yet? It's heartwarming. And I send a heart emoji. And then all of a sudden they start talking to you about their personal lives. If you think I'm crazy, well, call me crazy when I hit the 100K at the end of December. But what I'm trying to prove is that we want to be authentic. We want to build a human connection. And that's what these people are looking for. I don't care if it's a mortgage protection lead. I don't care if it's a Razor Ridge or a referral. Send them a picture of your dog. Guess what they're going to do back? They send a picture of their cat. Now we have a connection, and they're not going to forget about that appointment. One woman sent me back a picture. Oh, all 3 of these dogs are mine. Guess which one is the boss? Now they're engaging me, and I'm assuming it's the smallest one, right? So like we're building a connection by being ourselves. Sending a picture of your kids is nice, but we want to protect privacy. We want to protect our own family too. If you have a family photo that you're proud of, share it. This is our holiday card that's going out. I can't wait to help you so you could be added to my list of holiday cards.
Yep.
Just build that connection.
When you're able to move the motive off of the sale, all this person is trying to do, this is what we're going up against, is this mindset in ourselves first, right? Because that's where it's most powerful, and in other people. Oh, you just want to make a sale, right? And that perception on my side was debilitating, and that perception on their side just wasn't helpful. So how can we eliminate that as quickly as possible? Make a connection for a different reason. Make a connection that allows them to truly connect. Find a way to connect to them rather than just confirming what they're already concerned about, which is that you're another desperate insurance person just trying to make a deal happen. Because if you act like that, that's who you'll become. That's exactly what you'll get. But if you can do what Jesse's saying, go from right, like, oh, I got to say everything right, to saying everything real. Because there's going to be so many people who connect with you. And if, let's say you put on this elaborate show, Jesse, of you are the polished insurance professional in the 6-piece suit, and you're already making $100,000, you already know everything, you might get the terrible client you don't want in your business.
And it's so funny.
They're attracted to that person, not to the real you.
It's so funny you said that, Brian, because 1 out of 100 people that I sent a picture of my dog to said, why are you sending me a picture of your dog? I never even called them. I wasn't interested in doing business with them. I get to choose who I do business with. And even if I paid $50 for that lead, I didn't like their response. And that's the kind of person that'll cancel the policy a week later or give you all kinds of resistance. So you know what? Just like you get to choose who you work with and hire in this business, you get to choose who you write insurance with.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that person luck, but I never called them again because I didn't like their response. And I do business with who I choose. And when you get enough ASRs, you can be picky with who you do business with. Imagine that. Imagine being able to be pick and choose who you do business with instead of being desperate for a sale. And I also want to acknowledge, Mike put in the chat, is it helpful to enter them into the website? Guys, if you're not entering the ASRs in the website, as opposed to writing them down on the back of the lead or on a business card, I'm not going to lie to you. I wrote referrals on the back of my business card before just because they were handy. I've written referrals in my notepad.
Yep, absolutely. And this
Sorry
is what
about that.
happens.
I've written referrals in my notepad, and I've written them down there. But once I started adding them into the SFG ASR website, I not only get reminders, hey, did you follow up with your leads? But I have them in one place, and I know this is a list of leads that can be called. So I'm personally asking you on behalf of the entire Delaney agency, please, even if it's just one, please enter it into the website. I'm personally asking you because it's such a powerful thing. Not only can we track it, not only can you track it, but it's going to be so much more powerful when you actually know and get metrics on it. And then at the end of the month, you could say, wow, I got 10 referrals at the end of this month. I just started. This is my first month doing it. I booked 4 of them and I sold 3 of them. So I profited $3,600 this month off of the leads that I got for free. And that now covered my lead cost, and I could go buy more Razor Ridges and get more opportunities. So if everyone on this call, if you can commit, please type in the chat, I'm committed, if you're going to enter your ASRs into our website.
Yeah.
I'm going to type it in myself because I'm committed. I do it.
Yeah. SFG free ASR, sfgasr.com, whatever it is. You don't have to enter in 5. You just have to get to the end, and it's going to send you out an email to help you keep this organized. Listen to this: 5 ASRs. If you did just the bare minimum of 5 ASRs, that's an extra $2,800 on a starting contract. 5 ASRs per week, $2,800 of commission, right? How does that impact Christmas? Like, what if you had $2,800 more dollars? You could buy a piece of jewelry for your spouse, or a trip, or a $2,800 nicer one, right? You could enter that into MyQuility and get like 4 extra days or something. I'm not sure exactly how the MyQuility works, but right? So but I love what you're saying here, Jesse. It's bids for connection. It's bids for more connection. It's letting people know that my process only starts at the appointment and the application. That's not where we stop. We build these relationships for life with great clients who we get to pick, not only pick who we get to work with, when we get to work with them, where we get to work with them, how we get to work with them. So many different places. And listen, choice is absolutely necessary in order to be truly free. Choice is absolutely necessary, and we have to start making choices sooner so that we can have more freedom later. And the higher the quality of the choices, the higher the quality of the net result, the higher the quantity of those good choices, it becomes undeniable. All of a sudden, you find that what used to take you 3 days is now taking you 1 day, that you have that extra bit of money in your account. $2,700 allows you to hire one more person that can give you additional leverage. So now it's not only your 200 hours a month, it's their additional 160 hours a month. Now you're 360 hours in the month rather than just being 200 hours into the month, because you've gotten duplication, you've gotten leverage, all simply by being able to execute with effort, right? And I'll tell you that at the end of the day, what I have found is you will end up more energized, more passionate, more profitable, more free. And that's exactly what we're here to help you do. And Jesse, thanks for helping us deliver on that. Fired up to see how all of you come into December and finish out this new year with our heads held high, our shoulders back, ready to take on a new year, ready to get to the next level, so that then this is not just another repeat of 2022, but 2023 is a whole new thing, because we became a whole new thing. So y'all have a great day. Fired up for this week. Thanks for your partnership. So grateful to all of you, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, Jesse.
Love you guys.